Missy and Paige actors reunite in new photo after young Sheldon finale snubbed McKenna Grace. For 7 seasons, young Sheldon served as both a nostalgic prequel and a bold reimagining of The Big Bang Theory, offering viewers a fresh take on the boy genius Sheldon Cooper's formative years. But as the dust settles from the bittersweet finale, a surprising off-screen reunion between 2 of the show's most beloved secondary characters, Missy Cooper, Reagan Revord, and Paige Swanson, McKenna Grace, has fans buzzing. Not just because it's an adorable reunion between friends, but because it casts an even more glaring light on one of the finale's most confounding omissions, the absence of McKenna Grace's Paige. In a photo that quickly went viral among young Sheldon fan accounts, Reagan Revord and McKenna Grace are seen smiling arm in arm at a Los Angeles charity event, beaming with the kind of chemistry that once lit up CBS Thursday nights. Fans flooded the comments with nostalgia, love, and the shared frustration. Why wasn't Paige included in the final episodes of Young Sheldon? This surprise reunion isn't just heartwarming, it's also a symbolic moment. A moment that represents the unfinished storylines, the emotional undercurrents, and the rich potential that young Sheldon sometimes left untouched. The Paige problem, a brilliant character left behind. Paige Swanson was introduced early in the series as a gifted peer to Sheldon, perhaps the only one who could intellectually match him and emotionally outpace him. Played with subtle brilliance by McKenna Grace, Paige brought depth and vulnerability to a character often written off as a one-dimensional child prodigy. Her appearances were sporadic, but each one made an impact, not just on Sheldon, but on viewers who saw her as a parallel path the show never fully explored. Despite the obvious emotional resonance Paige brought to the series, her absence in the 2-part finale left fans baffled. Over the years, Paige's storyline became darker and more nuanced, exploring the alienation and pressure that came with being the other child genius. By season 6, she was clearly spiraling, struggling with depression, substance use hints, and academic burnout. The natural expectation was that Paige, a tragic reflection of what Sheldon could have become without support, would return one last time for closure. But instead, she vanished without even a mention. This made the recent Reagan Revord and McKenna Grace reunion photo all the more bittersweet. 2 young actors who carried so much emotional weight in their roles, standing together after the finale aired, serves as a quiet reminder of what the series gave us and what it ultimately chose to ignore. Missy and Paige, the unspoken sisterhood. One of the biggest what-ifs of young Sheldon was the almost but not quite friendship between Missy Cooper and Paige. Although they shared the screen only a handful of times, the chemistry between Revord and Grace hinted at a rich dynamic that could have offered a fascinating counterbalance to Sheldon's journey. Both girls were often left in Sheldon's shadow. Missy, with her social savvy and emotional intelligence, was frequently underestimated. Paige, despite her brilliance, was emotionally neglected and overburdened with expectations. A deeper exploration of their friendship, or even rivalry, could have offered the show a way to expand beyond Sheldon's perspective, diving into how genius affects families and peers alike. Instead, the series focused primarily on Sheldon's narrative, even as other characters, like Missy, grew increasingly popular with fans. That makes this real-world reunion between their actresses all the more poignant. It's a moment fans didn't get on screen, but needed just the same. Reagan Revord and McKenna Grace, young stars, real talent. While the characters they portrayed were often sidelined or secondary to the main storyline, Reagan Revord and McKenna Grace have continued to shine off-screen. Revord's performance as Missy matured in remarkable ways as the show progressed. From comic relief to a fully realized emotional core, Missy's storyline grew darker and more nuanced in later seasons, mirroring Paige in unexpected ways. McKenna Grace, already a seasoned actress before joining young Sheldon, has built an impressive resume that includes The Handmaid's Tale, Gifted, Ghostbusters, Afterlife, and more. Her emotional range and intensity helped shape Paige into something more than a plot device. Paige wasn't just there to make Sheldon look better, she was a mirror, a warning, and sometimes a heartbreak. Their off-screen reunion is more than a nostalgia bait. It's a quiet flex of their own star power, an unspoken statement that while the finale may have moved on without them, fans haven't. The finale's biggest missed opportunity. The final episodes of Young Sheldon offered many touching moments. George's funeral, Sheldon's departure for Caltech, the family grappling with grief and transition. But it also left key character threads unresolved, perhaps none more glaring than Paige's. A surprise visit from Paige at George's funeral, or even in a parallel scene showing how her life turned out, could have added another emotional layer. It would have been a chance to reflect on how two brilliant children ended up on such different paths, and how much support, or the lack thereof, plays a role in shaping a gifted mind. The show was never shy about diving into trauma and discomfort in its later seasons. Missy's adolescent rebellion, Mary's crisis of faith, Georgie's rushed adulthood, these arcs had weight. Paige, who began with so much promise and ended in silence, deserved that same closure. The photo of Grace and Reward smiling today almost feels like a spiritual sequel, a vision of what could have been, had the writers allowed Paige and Missy's parallel stories to intersect again meaningfully. Fan reactions: justice for Paige. Within hours of the reunion photo being posted on social media, fan communities erupted with emotion. Twitter hashtags like #JusticeForPaige and #MissYandPaige started trending on niche fandom threads and Reddit pages. Fans expressed frustration at how young Sheldon had consistently underutilized Paige, even as they praised the actresses for their continued friendship. One comment under the photo reads, "Greater than, this is the ending we wanted." Paige and Missy, two queens who were always more than just Sheldon's side characters. Another wrote, "Greater than, they had a chance to make Paige's arc truly meaningful in the finale. She was more than a genius, she was a warning. They blew it." Others speculated that Grace's rising star status made it hard to fit her into the finale, or that scheduling conflicts may have played a role. But that does little to soothe the disappointment. In serialized storytelling, especially for characters with complex arcs, closure matters. Legacy beyond the screen. Even though the Young Sheldon finale didn't give us Paige's return, the photo of Reward and Grace reminds us that the impact of a character and the performer goes beyond the final script. In the hands of these young actresses, Missy and Paige became more than supporting players. They were symbols of overlooked genius, emotional resilience, and the untold stories of those orbiting someone else's spotlight. The Young Sheldon writers may have chosen not to show us Paige's ending, but in the real world, fans are still writing it for themselves. The reunion photo has sparked fan fiction, video tributes, and calls for a Paige-centered spin-off or streaming special, something that gives closure to a character who meant more than anyone expected. Could a spin-off still happen? With Georgie and Mandy's first marriage,